Okay, starting to stream up. Playing Victoria 3 here. Just get a little housekeeping out of the way. I want to give it up to the Maryland Terrapins for another outstanding moral victory against a top 5 team. But I mean, well, let's be realistic. I mean, they're probably never going to be in that top echelon of college football teams, at least not in my lifetime. I mean, the last time they won a championship was in 1950. I think my dad was 4 years old. So it can be done, but I don't think anytime soon. And I do like Mike Loxley. I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on the program too much. And they'll go to a bowl game, but man, I don't really care too much about basketball. It'd be really nice to have a good college team to root for, but well, that I actually am sort of invested in. I mean, I could, I know I could pick Colorado, could root for Colorado, Coach Prime. We haven't heard that enough. Well, I turned that dog off last night. Jesus. It was like 49 to nothing or so, 42 to 3 in the first half when I turned it off. The defense was terrible. Anyway, I digress. So Victoria 3. This is arguably the most controversial Paradox game that has that I've really followed for that matter. I never played any of the prior games. For this one, I have played through the tutorial, basically, or most of the tutorial. Excuse me. The tutorial playthrough with Sweden, just to kind of get the mechanics down. I don't think I saw all of them because some of the tutorial objectives I wasn't able to meet. So, kind of flying blind here. Try not to go to Wikipedia or the internet in general too much when I'm starting to learn these games, just because I like the challenge of trying to figure it out on my own. But if you get stumped, sometimes you got to go to the browser. All right, so the plan here is I'm going to start up a new game. Oh man, that's loud. Turn the volume down on my end. Let's turn the music back on. The music's actually not that bad. Just keep it low. And I was thinking of starting a game up as Japan, because I think they've got a kind of interesting scenario to start with. Kind of isolated, which is a challenge because you can't import stuff from the start. But anyway, let's get started. I'm not going to do any of the objectives, just going to do a sandbox game, just to kind of see if I can bring the Japanese into the modern age, as they say. So let's see. The shogunate. You start out as an unrecognized major power. That means recognized powers are polities perceived as inferior and uncivilized by the reigning great powers, i.e. Great Britain and France, who regard them as, well, Prussia, Austria, etc. White people in Europe. Just try not to say it, but yeah, okay. Who regard them as little more than potential future conquest. As a result, their prestige is penalized and they can't be targeted with more severe diplomatic plays. They are also restricted in what ranks they may reach, no matter how much prestige they acquire. Alright, so the general idea here is to be declared either, I guess, self-proclaimed as a great power and to have it stick. So we don't start with any wars, we're just going to stick with all the defaults. Let's go ahead and get started. So just off the bat, the map does look very nice. I don't know if this is the same engine as Crusader Kings 3, CK3 heretofore, hereafter. But it does look very similar, especially the roads and the way these towns do develop over time. Like you'll see little buildings build off of, so it's kind of like Civ in that regard. The difference being Well, I guess it's been a long time since I've played a sim game. I know you can pick the location of some of the buildings, like the specialized buildings, but that's not the case here. It just kind of sprouts up in the general area around the city on the map. Let's see. Can't really see much of the world diplomatically or trade-wise. We can't do anything trade-wise because we're isolationists. So that's going to be probably the first main objective, is to get out of that isolationist state, just so that I can import things that I don't have, like iron and other critical resources. So let's see, starting out, Japan has a significant surplus of grain, so that's good. We shouldn't have any feeding problem. And a lot of fabric. And then on the other end of it, kind of lacking in just about everything else. So I guess the first intermediate objective I'm going to do is I want to try to get more of a logging industry going. So let's see, right now we've got, I don't want to look at just the one province, I want to look at all of them. I'm still kind of figuring the interface out and how to get to things. So right now we're just looking at the breakdown of this one province. Oops. Chubu. Apologies in advance if I butcher any of these names. Japanese is not my native language. Let's see here. So we've got 5.87 million people, which, I mean, this is more people than in the entirety of Sweden in that Swedish game I played, even towards the end. 9 unemployed, so that's good. How are we looking on unemployment here? 10. Kansai, 4. So unemployment looks like it's pretty much non-existent. I wonder if that's one of these things that's going to change once the calculations start rolling in and I unpause the game. Okay, here's something. What do we got? Kyushu, 22,500, 22.5k unemployed. So we'll start building some logging here. If I can. Alright, doesn't look like I can. So, what's the unemployment looking like in Kanto? 10 people without jobs. Mainly 1.14 million peasants. Alright, I'm going to unpause just to see if these numbers update after a week. So the game basically runs in week-long terms. Here you can see it's ticking off day-night cycle, but all the calculations are updated once a week. Alright, so now did that change the unemployment numbers? Oops. Yes. Okay, that went from 2,000 to 37 to 4 to 37. Alright, what about here? No. Alright, so this is already being colonized. So we've got coal here. That's the problem, we just don't have a lot in the way of building resources. At least in bonuses. Like these icons here just means you get a bonus in that province. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't build. Well, you know, sticking with logging. Let's see, can we build that here? Yeah, so we can build. So this province supports up to 3 logging camps. You know what? I'm just gonna stick with my gut. Start it up here in Chubu. Add to the existing industry. So it looks like that's going to be 19 weeks. So like all these Paradox games, I don't know if this is the Clausewitz engine or not, but all these grand strategy games, there's a lot of hurry up and wait. I mean, you could slow it down to a crawl, or you could pause it outright. Kind of strike a balance between letting a game fly and then pausing it, and then sometimes just letting it run at a medium clip. Which, I mean, playing by yourself, it's obviously, yeah, it's a lot more flexibility in that regard. If you're playing online or multiplayer, which I have barely done on any of their games, it's a lot different experience because you can't just pause every time you want to. At least not without pissing off everybody you're playing with. And if you're asking, it's the taste of the new generation. Why Pepsi and not Coke? Because that's what the pizza place had. Let's see. So, what else is going on? What can we look at here? So, these decrees, these are just different kind of bonuses that you can put authority points towards to apply a bonus to a sector. You have these 3 main pools of resources up here. This is bureaucracy. This is sort of your upkeep for basically things like trade routes and other things like that. Authority. I'm trying to. What does this kind of govern? We'll get there. I'm not going to get stuck on it right now. And then this third one here is influence. So I haven't really quite figured out how. I mean, this is basically how you can apply diplomatic pressure and how you're perceived throughout the world, it looks like, but I haven't really gotten too far into it. Alright, so while we're building our logging, check the status on the construction tab over here. The cat's going crazy. It's driving me nuts because he knows he had all fucking day to hang out. But no. We couldn't hang out when you were lying on the couch watching a football game. Had to be when you're trying to do something. Psst. You already had dinner. Psst. Yeah. Oh, cats. Cats, 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 cats. So I haven't really gotten too heavily into the warfare in this yet. From what I've seen, all the complaints that I've read about it are 100% correct, because unless there's some magic that, and again, I did not I didn't even get that far in the tutorial, or I barely got into the military stuff in the tutorial because it's like you have objectives you have to meet before it'll unlock the next tutorial objectives, and I couldn't get past the colonial ones on the first Swedish game I played because basically all the places I could have colonized were all grabbed up before I even realized how to do it. And I was like 70 years into that playthrough before I realized this, so I just said, fuck it, we're just going to take it to the end. Alright. Rags. Let's speed this up. Okay, so my first logging yard finished. See how that affect the market prices. So you don't want to go ham on building a bunch of stuff at once because this is your money, your weekly input or real-time input. And when you start building something, this will plummet because you're basically buying construction resources. That's this temporary national expenses, the construction goods. So just kind of as an example, we still want to get more logging, so I'll add one of those. And of course it didn't do it. Let's build more than once. Build more than one at a time, rather. Alright, so I'm not sure why, but it is not eating into my budget the way it was in my other game. Like you would try to just queue up one building and this would go, you know, from plus 16 into like negative 10, negative 20. Maybe it's because of the cheap materials, I don't know. Gotta start a research. Damn, wasted a bunch of time. Not researching anything. Whoops. Oh well. So the game does utilize two different types of construction. There's government and private construction. The difference being government is basically stuff that you manually start on your own, and private construction are projects that are started up by investors. You basically have no control over what gets picked and where. But you can pause construction if you want. But I mean, the benefit here though is you don't really get that negative impact to your money input the way that you do with government construction. But the other part is you draw from the same pool, which is this construction pool here. So this is the total number of points you can put towards building stuff at any time, and that's split up between whatever private and government construction is going on at any given time. So still just keep building stuff. What is the wood market looking like? Alright, I'm still pretty heavy in the negative on wood. So I think I'm going to just try to load up on that to get a good surplus going. Alright, so here's basically our first demand from somebody that wants something from me. There's these different... let's just go to that view. You do have these different political groups that are jockeying for position, and you can actually bring them into your government and form coalition governments with them. The shogunates basically are landed nobility in this particular game. So they have a significant amount of clout, that's i.e. power, political influence. So we want to keep them happy. And you can kind of get an idea of what their deal is. So I'm not crawling around on the ground with you, Rags. Come here. Pain in the ass today. Was there beef? What do they want? Professional army. So the nobility wants a professional army. Careful what you wish for. Let's go back to, okay, go to government. So this screen is just kind of a breakdown of your government's composition. Legitimacy is basically popularity, more or less. You get a breakdown of pros and cons. Let's see. I think it's under laws. Okay, yeah, so the army model right now is peasant levies. They do not like that. They want a professional army. And what's the difference? Come here. One of these days, Rags, you're gonna find yourself air freight to Philadelphia. Not in the box either, just I'm gonna Patrick Mahomes you all the way. All the way to Philly. So we will go with the professional army. militant expansionist. He's the new leader of the trade unions. Excuse me. Where's that construction sitting at? We're still waiting on this stuff. Speed it up a little bit. There be whales here. Yeah. Alright. See, a lot of streamers have their cats do cute things like walk around on the desk and jump up on them and all this sort of stuff, but this one just likes to hang out off camera, just out of reach, making a lot of noise and being a pain in the ass. Yeah. Alright. Back to business. More wood. Colonization of Hokkaido is completed. Our colonization of Hokkaido is completed, and the former colony is now a proper state. Let's go check it out. Population of just under 60,000. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Stop. 8 unemployed people. Birth rate's going up. Do you have resources? Any resources here? Ooh. Coal. That's going to be useful in the long term. It's like the biggest bottleneck right now is, well, not right now, but eventually the bottleneck is going to be mineral industries like iron, steel, etc. That coal will come in handy when it comes time to make some steel. But for right now, like you can see, shipyards are hiring, so they can't fully hire because this isn't profitable enough because they can't, well, they don't need any steel. So why? I mean, their cash reserves are going up. So generally, the way I understand how this works, because the objective here is to get this productivity number up as high as possible for all these different businesses and industries. And the higher that is, the more profit it turns. And as you build up cash reserves, that will allow them to hire more people and like create more goods and run more expensive operations. So, and that's so you want to maintain as high a weekly balance as possible. So this breaks down revenues 1.43, expenses are 1.38, so it's marginally profitable. And it kind of, so this tells us for 36 wood and 18 fabric, you're getting 31 ships, more or less. So to make this more profitable, we can either increase the demand for ships or decrease the costs of the materials to make the ships. So that's the approach I'm trying to do right now by creating more logging, so the costs will go down and hopefully that trickles down to, hey, see how that works? Hopefully that propagates itself throughout the rest of the economy. Just a little side note, this is the type of game they make for my dad. He's a spreadsheet guy. I mean, this is a spreadsheet simulator. That's not, I did not coin that term. I've heard it used for other Paradox games. But yeah, it's just, so if you're into logistics and supply chains and the economics and stuff like that, this is the game for you. It is not a military simulator like Hearts of Iron, and it's not a character-based role-playing style simulator like Crusader Kings. Sort of somewhere in between. Okay, so let's check the market for logging. All right, so we're almost caught up. We're almost flat on that. So I think I will build, maybe let's say one more logging industry. Ooh, got a bunch queued up, so actually I'm gonna cancel most of these. Because you don't want to get too much of a surplus, at least now you don't, because then that's going to drive the price down, and then that will negatively affect the productivity of the logging industries. Excuse me. So we can see this one here, and let's like drill down on this. So this one is set to specialize in hardwood, which is used for like shipbuilding and construction and other stuff, I believe. Here it's used in furniture. What do you... Now this cat will just sit silent for hours. I think he's just going nuts because I'm talking. I'm not usually talking to myself. I'm sitting here playing games. But every time I try to pick him up, he runs away. Because he's an asshole. Yes, Rags, you're an asshole. You're being an asshole. Research another technology. Wars. Alright, so now we're running a slight surplus for wood. I'll keep that as is. Just because that's subject to change. A lot of industries and a lot of different material or things demand wood. So what next? What else do we really need? So there's a big demand for fine clothing. Let's see, it's produced in textile mills. How many of those do I have? Got 6 of them. Let's see. Slow it down. You can't bite because you don't have any teeth, Gummo. Joys of pet ownership. Okay. What was I doing, Rags? Oh, where did you go? Teleporting bastard. Textile mills. Try to find a province that has a higher demand for them. Let's see. But there was an easier way to see. Local prices, that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so clothing in Kyushu is actually cheaper than the rest of the country, so we're not going to build there. Okay, so they've got a shortage of regular clothes. Alright, so alright, this looks like a good spot then. Well, let's check the rest of the 18 and 2. Okay, they got a surplus. They're about flat. They're about flat. Flat. Alright, so looks like Shikoku has the most significant shortage in regular clothing, so we're going to build a textile mill there. $56 I might need to start investing in some heavier construction. So far I have 0 viewers. Outstanding. Well, it is Friday night, and I did announce this like 45 minutes ago, like, yeah, I'm gonna go online to my 67 subscribers. I mean, is there anything better that you could be doing on a Saturday night besides watch me play Spreadsheet Simulator? I don't fucking think so. I mean, even with an obnoxious cat rolling around at my feet, I mean, there's no better entertainment value per dollar than what you're looking at right now. Let's see. Take some. going to take forever. It can't take a whole year just to build one mill. So I think we're going to pause this, or at least expand the construction sector. Oh, that's why I don't have any resources thrown towards that, so let's start with that. Let's just add six more points. And we're going to pop all that to the top of the queue. Speed this up. So one thing I'm happy to report that it does appear that Paradox is not being as scummy as I thought they might have been by suddenly dropping the sale on this game, you know, on the day or the day after the free-to-play. But because I think they're really desperate at trying to recoup this one, because it was, I don't know if I could call it a disaster, because I don't know what their final sales were for it or any of that kind of insider baseball on it, but I do know that this game was pretty heavily criticized when it first launched, and it does appear that the newest update, I guess it's 1.5, is fixing a lot of the problems that the community had with it out of the box, but it's kind of the same old complaint that we're hearing about double and triple A games these days, and that this shouldn't have been a patch a year after launch. This should have been in the game out at the gate. So, or in the game out the gates is what I'm trying to say. Having not played it in the prior state, I can't say. I mean, so far, I mean, I think I've enjoyed it. I definitely had a very long session yesterday into the evening, into the morning, as it were. Just kind of going through that first tutorial playthrough and just sort of figuring out the mechanics, or at least the surface value mechanics. I'm sure I'm getting just about everything wrong here, but so far, I would say I enjoy it. I'm kicking around buying it. If it's only $25. They were dropping it on sale on and off for the past year, but it was usually like 20% off, 30% off, and I could never quite get myself to pull the trigger on it at $40, just because the negative feedback was so high, and I wanted to see, you know, kind of or just take the wait and see approach. But 25 could be fair, and I'm wondering if that means there must be an expansion on the horizon, because they're notorious about this as well. Hearts of Iron 5 is never happening, and as far as I can tell, and I can kind of see why. I mean, what else? However, how many different ways can they do that same kind of concept and engine? They've sort of got the core sweet spot down with Hearts of Iron 4, and they're just adding in flavor packs and content packs. What I would like to see is them to try a Cold War into the modern era game. I know there are mods for Hoi to do modern games, but I played it one. I'm not really huge into modding to begin with, and the one that I played, I didn't really care for it. I can't remember what it was called, or off the top of my head, but it would be neat to see, or I would like them to put out like a Cold War up to now, or maybe into the immediate future, as it were. The problem with that, though, is that they would have to be willing to touch some pretty toxic or potentially toxic political subjects and ideological slants that they probably don't want to deal with from a marketing perspective. So we'll just, all right, another World War II game. Yeah, World War II is it's a fucking video game now. Eventually, all those vets are gonna be gone, and all we're gonna have left is, you know, Call of Duty and the History Channel. It's fucking sad, but that's how it goes. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of the gist. I think I'm going to shut the stream down for now just because there's nobody watching, and this game isn't exactly... I mean, if you're into these sorts of things, it's fun to play, but it's not exactly a compelling watch. And this cat is driving me nuts. So anyway, I'm going to keep it up on the channel. If you do watch it, just drop a comment to let me know if you liked anything, any room for improvement, that kind of thing. Alright, take it easy.